Welcome back to you, Pumpkin. I do know you appreciate orange juice. 1, 3, or 5 ice cubes. We don't deal with that room temperature stuff over here. You know, you're going to go through a lot of stories and narratives through your journey in investing and life itself. But the difference with investing is the crowd is always wrong at the extremes. If you've been watching my channel, you like, subscribe, you know I'm very familiar with that, and I have tried to train you in that field as well. And guess what, friends? The stonk market is so big, it is the ultimate dictator of all. So I can't infect the minds of everybody in crypto and tell them, hey, you know, you're bullish at the top, right? It's not just getting started, it's just about to end. And also at the bottom, right? This is just like in depression, the complete opposite, where it's only just going to get started, the good times, right? No one's going to believe you because it's all about stonks. Now, I'm going to show you this chart, friends. Please don't get scared. I'm just going to tell you this, okay? So there's some things going on out there, friends. There's some weird stuff going on. There's some X factor indicators. So just to keep you up to speed, you've been following my channel. Sometimes, friends, at extreme tops of market cycles, assets, shares, whatever they are, there are unique indicators that come and they make you think many times. And they are traps, okay? And they are representations of how people feel at the time. All right, so these are things that you can't just get from looking at a chart. But when they come, you better take note. For example, the laser eyes thing with Bitcoin. For example, oh my gosh, a country adopted Bitcoin. Now it's 40,000. Ugh, why didn't they want to adopt it at 4,000? Okay, Coinbase IPO, another one. All right, there's a lot of other things, friends. You just got to think about these. Now, the stock market's a bit different. The stock market is much thicker. And I know you like it thick, family friendly show. Stock market has trillions of dollars moving around. And so with the stock market, you don't just get a nice little indicator to go, well, I'm just going to sell. You know why? Because if there wasn't an indicator that existed out there, people would be able to rotate infinite money because there is trillions of dollars of liquidity. Well, it's really like billions, but you can move a lot of money out there if you have some sort of big edge, and everyone is always hunting for the big edge. But sometimes the stars align, friends. Sometimes the stars, they just line up perfectly and the pieces of the puzzle fit together. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the greatest story to be telling each other because what's happening now is the background of the economy, it sucks. All right, it sucks. They printed a lot of money and they're bringing in CBDCs, which means they know it's about to crack. They know, friends. They know it's about to crack. They know this thing, yeah, something's going to happen later on, right? They need somebody to blame. They need things to blame. They're probably going to blame crypto. Now, where are we going with this? Well, at the end of the day, you can have your opinions or you can just look at history. History says some common things, such as when the Fed starts cutting rates, we have a real recession, okay? You're actually going to learn this, friends. This took me a while to figure it out at the start, but when they hike rates, it's because you're really strong, okay? And when they cut rates, when they begin to cut rates, it's because you're really weak. You need them, okay? That's not a good sign. And the economy is like a very large Titanic ship, very hard to turn. You can't just turn it so fast. You got to think about all the businesses, people, everybody in the economy. The mind gets infected with fear. We're like, I don't want to start a business. I don't want to earn any money. I don't want to work. I don't want to do whatever. Okay, all these things are very hard to shake off. It takes a while, and that's part of the business cycle. It's natural. Now, what I'm going to show you is a chart here. Now, this is a chart. I got it from Blockchain Backup, but it's true. You got to look at it, friends. So what we can do is, okay, you can go to the top and bottom of a cycle, and you can get a fib extension tool, and you just draw it from the top to the bottom. And what it will do is it'll show you the Fibonacci extensions on the way up. Okay, now this is the absolute crazy part. So this is the Dow Jones, all right? Now obviously, this is just doom porn, friends, but this is actually what happens, all right? So this, I learned off Blockchain Backup, all right? You see this part here? This might be what we saw in the tech boom, and then this is 2001, and then this is 2006. This is the GFC. And this is our run. Okay, so what blockchain backer did, I mean, is actually kind of crazy. What you can do, friends, is you can just get this bars pattern and you can just put it over each other, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to just do the entire crash of the stock market because just to let you know, when people draw these Great Depression crashes in the stock market, it's not really genuine because in those times, 100 years ago, we weren't using an aggressive fiat system. We were on the gold money standard. So what happens is when the economy starts tanking, they can't print money fast enough because they actually looked at the gold vaults and like, oh my gosh, we only have a certain amount of gold, trillions of tons here, whatever it is, and we can't actually print that much. So the economy just has to clear itself out. And in the midst of that, you see unemployment rate going to plus 20% and everybody gets wrecked. That's the big 90% drop. But now they don't do that anymore. You see that big 90% drop, friends? Now the government, and also, look, the government's an extension of the people. We want this system, okay? No matter what anybody tells you, we actually choose this system. The system is, we go, well, instead of dropping 80 to 90% to clear the price, why don't we print money so the chart, instead of going down heaps, because you've debased the denominator, instead of going down 90%, maybe you can stop it at minus 50%, okay? Now, you see that extra minus 50% drop at the bottom, okay? That big minus 50%. What ends up happening is the purchasing power of everyone in the economy who's working for wages, who's holding fiat, you get weakened. And the government's job is to kind of slowly burn out your weakening. Put it another way, instead of you getting a minus 50% cut of your purchasing power in a year, which is devastating for anybody, what the government does is they go, well, let's try to smooth it out for everyone. So instead of minus 50% in 1 year, let's do minus 5% for 10 years in a row. Now that minus 5%, friends, is actually the money printing, okay? It is money printing and the debasement of that. Now, unfortunately, not everybody can win because someone has to get the currency first, right? So not everyone can win in the system, friends. That's just the game, okay? Someone's going to get the currency first and someone will spend it first. So that's the system we now live in today. So when you see a fractal of a giant, big world depression crash, I want you to think about something. The magnitude of the move, we're probably not going to see that again because they print so much money so fast. But the theme of the move rings true in the economy, okay? The theme of the move, the speculation part counteracted by mass fear, right? That's always going to be present just with markets. So what I've done is I've got the actual fractal here, friends. And what I'm going to do is you can actually bring it up. And remember what I did was all of this is the Dow Jones, okay? And you can just bring this fractal up and kind of spooky. What you can end up doing, friends, is, okay, this is just this wild, very wild, all right? So this is just, I'm not joking, man. This is wild. So what I've done is, okay, you're probably wondering, what did you just do? Well, you see this earlier part here, this is just the lead up to the roaring 20s and then the Great Depression crash. We're following the yellow line here. See these double humps here? It shows that even back then, I mean, it's fascinating. 100 years ago, these people, they're not drawing charts. There's no computers. There's no algorithms. There's no YouTube. It's just people running around and just doing stuff naturally. Yet, magically, unicorns, fairy dust, aliens, cosmos, God, all the gods, the Anunnaki, I don't know. For some reason, the extension of the Roaring 20s pre-run up into the top of the Roaring 20s, right before the Great Depression, that extension is a 4.236 extension of Fibonacci. It's crazy, okay? Now, this is where we bring up our picture today. Because back then, we had this run, and look at this line up here, friends. So what I've done is I've shown you The roaring 20s line, this is what the roaring 20s, right? 19 roaring 20s, and then bang. This is the very, very, very top right before the Great Depression. So if we were to kind of like just overlay and go, oh my gosh, what type of move would that be? Now, this is where obviously you just got to be careful because obviously everyone's going to draw like a minus 70, minus 80% drop. They actually draw minus 90%. And you got to remember the game now, friends. The game, there is actually a wipeout. The wipeout of cash holders. You know, interesting. You might say to me, has this happened before in the past? Yes. We just saw it. The zombie virus. Look how much grocery items have gone up. They've basically gone up like 2 or 3x for some stuff. So what's actually happened is if there was no money printing, we all lost 70% of our purchasing power. Bang. Crazy, right? Yeah, so, you know, there are grocery items that your basket maybe used to pay like $100 for a basket. Now it's like $200. Yeah, so it's actually, you've lost like 50% of your purchasing power. Wild. But the stock market chart does not go down minus 50% and stay there because it's denominated in the US dollar. And that's how they artificially keep that up. And that's the whole scheme, this whole scam. That's just how it works, friends. And look, some people say, well, this is not a just system. I know Uncle Petey Schiff will say, no, better on gold. But look, you know people, man. We choose that system. We want that system, okay? We would rather them try to gamble, you know, the policymakers and print money. We want that system, friends. We don't want a system where people get wiped out for 10 years because that's what Great Depression is. It's like, oh, guess what? You know that overpricing that we had that went on for 10 years? Yeah, we need 10 years to wipe it out. So there goes the soup lines, 18% unemployment rate. But also now, you know, my friends, the powerful people on top, they're never going to let this happen. Why? Because they're not going to let their homes and their mansions get repriced minus 95% lower in their neighborhood for you to buy. No way. Now, you know who knew this? A little man or men or group of squirrels named Satoshi. That's why crypto was invented. So interesting, we are in crypto to try beat this game. But unfortunately, you're seeing now, friends, that the stock market, man, the stock market, friends. That freaking stock market, I'm telling you now, man, it's just, it infects everyone, friends. It infects everyone. And you're just going to have to be careful when it comes to these. Now, looking at this fib extension, what are we really looking for? Well, we know now, all right, we've run a very long bull market, like a longest bull market in history. And if you've been listening to my videos, you know I've told you something about markets, friends. It's painful, but it's true. It mirrors itself. So basically, if it gives you down-only pain, it then gives you up-only reward. But here's the problem. We are now on the back of a 13-year forever up-only bull run. Okay, then this is going to be harsh to look at. So what is this actually? What are we actually looking at? Well, in a nutshell, let's look at some facts. So this is crazy, friends. You know the US Fed. Okay, look at this line here. Okay, so since the GFC, we had 4,690 days of up only. Can you believe that, man? That's crazy. 4,690 days of up only is 12.8 years. I want to let you know that the average bull market is about 5 to 8 years. So the fact that we went over for like 12.8 years is whoa. Okay, that's big. That's now you get to see these extensions. If you don't get a full reset and they continue on, you do end up paying the price later on. Okay, now after these 12 years, when do you think in this whole run, the US Fed decided to ban themselves from owning stocks? Okay, when do you think of this whole run? Well, if you've been watching my channel, you know when. Right at the tippy top, the US Fed said, hey guys, look at this. I mean, let's show you right now how crazy this looks like. Is the US Fed like, whoa, but hey guys, we are going to be legit now. We don't want to own stocks. Do you remember I spoke to you, friends, about X factor signals? This is something that builds like this super macro thesis that it can really it can spook you. It's a bit of magic. It's a bit of contrarian. It's all about what markets are about, friends. These are the ingredients that you have to be cooking with, because this is what makes Jesse Livermore and all the other greatest traders out there dodge the biggest world collapses of all time. You know, there are some traders out there in history, they, for some reason, were just able to dodge a lot of stuff, and they just had really, really good foresight. Now, obviously, it's our dream one day to be able to see and sniff their chairs and be able to experience something like this. Unfortunately, what comes next is turmoil. So remember, don't forget my saying, by the way. Do you want to be right or do you want to make money? Okay, so it's not about getting these magical things correct necessarily. It's just that if they happen, you still make money. Okay, so there are things we can do to make sure we get there. Now, obviously, first thing you're going to hear from Bitcoin maxis and everybody else is, don't worry, because in the crash, they're going to print money and then everything's going to be sweet. Wrong. They will print money. Everything will be sweet over a long enough time period. But you know, friends, how the government works. The government does not come to your rescue instantly. It lets things play out. And then because why? Because they know the scam they're running. They know they're going to print money. They're going to do this. So what they want is, though, they want the people to be screaming and crying and begging them to print money. Okay? And think about it. You're not begging and screaming when the prices are up near their all-time highs. All right? You're begging and screaming when there's disaster and there's economic turmoil around the corner. Okay? So the thesis is, if this happens, okay, if this happens, I guess the thesis is, right, we're having, so you know how the US Fed owned the stock, banned themselves from owning stocks here? Well, my thesis is at some point in the next year, US Congress is going to join them and they're going to say, hey, US Fed, you know, we're going to ban ourselves. And it's just, if you look at the chart, it's just going to look like the most biggest bunch of BS. It's like, after 12 and a half years, both of you politician scum decided that you don't want to own stocks. So you're going to be forced to sell. So that's the whole goal, friends. The goal of them is to say, oh, we can't own stocks. You know what I mean? Because, friends, they know, right? They know. You're probably wondering, like, why don't they just do it in private? They can't. Their accounts are tracked. There's millions of people watching. They need an excuse to make it look like, oh, well, you know, golly gee, we banned ourselves from stocks. We're not allowed to own them, right? It's such a convenient thing to say. Now, whether it's true or not, remember, I've told you, friends, it's all about the stories and the narratives and this simulation. I've just got a feeling the way we look back at this, at that top, is going to be like, I don't think that's a coincidence, or is it? Where both of these politicians scum banned themselves from owning stocks and now they're allowed to sell legally without knowing the future technically, okay? So that's super important, okay? Now, like I said, the thesis is, so they ban themselves, maybe they ban themselves. Maybe we have one more thrust up. This might be the final Bitcoin and crypto bull market. It doesn't mean everything's over, but I'm hoping there's obvious signs for us. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm hoping Jim Cramer, Ty Lopez, everyone starts appearing all at once. I hope even Uncle Peter Schiff gets bullish. I hope Bitcoin, when it gets to the top, Uncle Peter Schiff makes like an outlandish call, right? I hope we start seeing something like that. That gives me an idea, okay? I hope when we get there as well, the crowd is in a disbelief phase in terms of they're in denial, not disbelief, they're in denial, where the Fed starts cutting rates and then everyone's like, no, this time's sweet, inflation under control, right? I hope those types of things are there. Now, unfortunately, I don't hope what happens next is the turmoil and the doom, but I hope we get a clean read, right? And what I've loved is about this Bitcoin run up is I've given you so many signals and indicators, even though not all your bags have gone up, friends, but I've shown you what's been going on, okay? So I've shown you things like, crapo, capitulating, and all of these. So we got a good read. We got a really good read out there in the universe now. This is what 18 hours a day does. You want to be here? You want to win? You want to win? Right? 18 hours a day. So what do we actually do? Well, we're still gambling. We're still gambling, okay, at the end of the day. And look, we're going to need to, we're going to do some, we're going to have to pump some music, friends, because look, we're still gambling. We're still speculating. It's going to be a bull market. Going to be doing ICOs. Hopefully all our bags pump. Real DeFi pumps. Big Mac DeFi pump. We're going to hope all those things pump. But I just want you to know where we are, okay? This could be that final gasp, the final extension. Because you see, these big macro moves, they're not quick. So you need a period of time that tests everybody's thesis. So we might see throughout next year a period where inflation goes down and it looks like the US Fed claims victory. And they say, oh, we won. Unemployment and inflation, the perfect conditions. No, okay, because here is the target and this is the economy. They hike rates and now we just get to this inflection point here, okay? But this part is going to keep crashing to the floor. But it's just that when we screenshot and we snapshot this part, they go, hey, we're back to target, woohoo! And they celebrate. And then it keeps going, okay? That's what, I'm not making this up, friends. This is what happens every single time, okay? So it's not anything new. Now, what do we actually do in this scenario? Well, I just want you to be careful, especially about Bitcoin towards 60, 70, 80,000. We have been preparing. We're buying right now. And I want you to just be super sensitive about your portfolio number because we're going to try participate in all the ICOs and launch pads and coins and new coins, Cycle 1 coins. Going to try to do all of that. But at the end of the day, your number is irrelevant. Okay, I'm just telling you this. And my number is irrelevant. All that matters is if all those X factor indicators are going off and like absolute degenerate meme coin trash is flying, we're going to know Judgment Day is coming. All right. Now, I've shown you that chart. Yeah, it looks scary. Maybe the S&P 500 and everything just tanks and does these things. Maybe it doesn't. But at the end of the day, you know, I've been gifting you with these things. I'm like, you know what? The biggest trap of all would be a 4-year cycle that continues the whole way and then gets cut by the stock market. And then everybody realizes, oh my gosh, it's not the 4-year halvening. It's a stock market correlation, right? So I've opened your eyes to these things, right? Because there's that famous stock market saying, only the paranoid and the skeptical survive. So what do we actually do when it comes to those? Well, you now know, right? Taking profit, super important along the way. Don't even bother trying to sell the top, right? Just want you to know the economy is running on fumes, but these things take a long time to turn. Remember my golden rule? You never know, this might play out. The time to sell altcoins in 3 out of 3 cycles was exactly 12 months after the halvening. Okay, that was literally 3 out of 3 times. If that happens again, it would be April 2025. Okay, so there you go, friends. That might be the juice. Maybe 2024 is the whole runway, right? And then 2025 begins by the weak hands coming in. And they look at us and they say, hey, 2024 people, how have you been making money? They go, okay, you're buying ICOs and launch pads. Oh, you're buying real DeFi. Oh, you're buying this. You're doing this. And then they start copying. And that's probably, could be the final run. Though we don't know, friends. So this timing, no one knows. Don't even pretend to know because it can come at any time. All right? It can come super aggressive. Like, you know, like there's anything can happen. So don't get hooked on timing. Don't get hooked on price. Just be ready for those indicators no matter what, okay? So I'm going to keep watching. Don't forget, stock market's running on fumes. Everyone's going to say this time is different. And we're going to be ready to buy that big, fat dip. Can't wait. That'd be fantastic if this actually plays out. So remember, even at those tops, you got to be careful. You got to make money even if it keeps going up. So you're just going to have to decide. Okay, I'll just tell you right now, having 0% stable coins is the wrong portfolio, and having 100% stable coins is the wrong portfolio as well. So you're going to have to decide what to do on that. I want you to know as well, when it comes to these, we'll be selling the risky part first. Of course, you know, I get asked as well, hey, are you going to stack more Bitcoin and stuff? Well, you know what, man? Maybe, but I don't really know, friends, because if Bitcoin stalls what I think it's stalling, that doesn't mean it's like protected on the downside. Like there's still going to be people screaming, right? I've now seen there is no point to play that weird correlation game between altcoins and Bitcoin, okay? Because what you actually, if you go back and check the charts now, I get to see the period that everybody focuses on is the crossing the chasm of the technological boost for Bitcoin and crypto, which was 2017. And that was Ethereum being birthed and the toggling of the altcoins and then the Bitcoin and the altcoins. And that is such a super mammoth easy season where you just buy everything that I don't think we're ever going to see that again of that nature. Okay. So when it comes to, do you take profits in the Bitcoin, go all in? You can't hurt yourself taking into both, stable coins and Bitcoin. But we're going to cross that path. When we get there, we'll have a better idea. But for now, all these little things, they're cute to think about. But I just want you to know, like, we're still super long and strong. There is some fumes left out of this, but don't forget, okay? Don't listen to anybody else. I mean, you can. Just know you're going to get wrecked, okay? We are not entitled to anything, all right? We are in that final part, friends. It really does feel like we're in that final part where every single bubble around the world gets the final people in. The people who say, wow, you still haven't popped? You must be going much, much, much higher, all right? Everywhere from, could be Australian property, Canada property, the stock market, the usual sessions. Everyone's like, yeah, soft landing. It's a soft landing. We're going to usher in another bull market, okay? You watch and see for the commentary at the very tippity top, because we're going to be super contrarian and skeptical along the way because, look, there's been thousands of warning signs. Make sure you like, subscribe, press the belly button, or catch you very soon.